Okay, so your next exercise will be unwrapping this pistol. So download this file and put in your scene folder. Now this is what the pistol object look like. So you need to unwrap and you need to put a texture. And again, this is just exercise, so it will not be graded. Now, if you look at this pistol, right, the object is kind of complex, so you need to start planning with the UV. Okay, so what I usually do when it comes to a more complex object, I would start with the easiest surface that I can do with the UV. Okay, and again, when it comes to texturing, right, this is just exercise. You can just put whatever texture that you find suitable for this object. Okay, now I'm gonna do this like a little bit quickly, right? So the principle is the same because the object is hard surface. You can pretty much do the pattern mapping method. Okay, and in this case, I'm just gonna like pattern mapping from the top. So I'll get like that, right? And while I project, I have this thing on, right? So everything is in the ratio with the object that you have in the viewport. Okay, so it's supposed to be thin, right? It's not that wide, so it's thin. Okay, and again, we just need to select the proper faces, right, without selecting any other one, just on this side. And again, you just need to project correctly. Okay, so in this case maybe it's a X, and if it's red, you might need to flip this guy. Okay, so otherwise you cannot stitch them together. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it like that. Okay, and again, once you finish with the UV, you can start putting the texture, and you can be creative with the texture. Okay, so you can put whatever texture you want. Okay, and the front portion, right, and I want to flip it like that. Okay, so just keep going. So this is, I can easily select together, and I can try to project everything in one go, right? And if you try to project everything in one go, you're gonna get something like this. Okay, because one of them like facing the other way, and one of them like facing forward, and one of them is like facing upward, right? So you're gonna have like a line and like that and like that. Okay, so at this stage, right, maybe it's easier for you to kind of like do this manually, right, because you're still learning. So this one you probably have to project from Y, right? You're gonna get something like that, right? You have to flip it, so it makes more sense for you. Then you move on to this guy. So this is probably forward, like that. Then it's kind of red, so you have to flip it, right? This one is not flipped, so you have to flip it again. You move on to this guy, white. So it's more like a manual way of doing it. So once you get comfortable with the tool, then you can do like a much faster way to do. Okay, but at this stage, maybe you get used to the tool and do everything manual first. Okay, so this one is a Z. Alright, it's red. Then just need to flip it. Okay, so UV is kind of like a tedious process, but it's not hard as compared to modeling. Alright, because there's a lot of like repetition you have to do in UV. You have to select faces, and you have to unwrap, and that's, yeah, I think I select too many. Yeah, and you just have to keep doing it again and again. Okay, I think that's the boring part about UV, but it's not hard, it's just tedious. Okay, there. Okay, so this is the upper portion. I think I misclicked it, that's why it's broken, so I have to do it again. So let's like apply, and yeah. So this one, I have to do it again in separate pieces. This is the back side of the gun, and this is Y. This one can be together. Right, now if you're confused like which face is which, right, I usually turn on the checker pattern. Okay, so the checker pattern will indicate like which faces that you have done. Okay, and I also turn off this display because otherwise like it's kind of hard to see what's going on here. So if I turn this thing off, so the checker pattern will not be shown in the UV editor, and it's much easier for me to see what's going on. Okay, and let's say for example like I haven't done this side, right? I haven't done this side, so let's do the UV. So I go to UV, select this guy, and press delete. You can pretty much tell like, oh, this portion of the gun is not done yet. Okay, so by having this checker pattern on, it kind of tells you like which face is done and which one hasn't. Right? So, okay, let's say, oh, this one I haven't finished. So I want to just click this guy again, right? And I can just reproject. I can reproject this using X. Okay, and I can flip it, right? And rotate it. Now, let's say like you, okay, let's say like you messed up, like for example, like you kind of messed up like this, right? And how do you delete UV? Well, you just need to right click and select UV, select the UV shell that you want to delete, and just press delete. Okay, make sure you don't select any other component mode, right? So like right now, if I'm selecting face mode and I select this guy, and when I press delete, like it might delete like, yeah, these entire like faces. Okay, so see what happened there. So that could happen. So what I usually do is that I usually go to the UV, because what I want is to delete the UV. Right, select this shell and just press delete, and you just redo the projection again. Okay, so I think that's a much safer option for you, because if you delete the face, then you might have to remodel the entire portion of the object. Okay, so this one seems okay. Everything is already like laid out. And again, don't forget about the textile density. So what we want is we want to have everything pretty much roughly the same size. Okay, so I'm going to maybe shrink this guy a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to get the size, or get how much textile is being put in there, and I make sure like the map size is correct. Okay, 2048, and I'm gonna click that. Right, so it's about 53 pixels is being placed there. And again, I'm gonna select his frame, set, or you can select like the entire shell and just press set. Okay, this one also same. And now if you check the pattern, it's pretty much same size. Okay, and the next thing that you can do is you can stitch these together. Right, move and sew. Okay, and this one also stitch them. This one also stitch. Also stitch. Okay, and it's like that. Okay, so let's do the bottom one. Now, I want to shrink it. Now, at this stage, right, if you observe, if I shrink it like this, right? Everything fits in this region. Okay, now this is the time where you have to actually decide as an artist, like, if I shrink it like this, like, you waste like pretty much like half of the space there. Okay, so you have an option. So if I cut this, or if I cut there, so I want to cut this by going here, go to edge mode and cut, and I move this entire piece there, and I'll do the same thing with this guy and cut. Right, I have the ability to kind of like make this bigger. Okay, so I'm not wasting any of the space. So this is the time where you have to kind of judge, like, should I like cut and make the UV bigger by sacrificing like the seam, because by cutting this you actually create more seam, but at the end of the day you're gonna have more resolution for your texture. Okay, so you have to make that decision. Or do you wanna keep it like this? Okay, but then so there is lesser seam because everything are connected, but then you waste like this many like space where you could have like put more texture. Yeah. Okay, so in this case I'm going to cut, rather, in order for me to have this shell or this gun have a higher resolution. So if I cut like this, right, so this gun can have a higher resolution, but I have more seam. Okay, so I want to, every time you scale, you have to get again the value. Okay, so it's about 4. I'm going to select his friend, and I'm going to set again. Okay, so I'm not wasting like too many of this space. And again, you can try to make this bigger, right? Fit, get, set, right? And you can rotate this guy. Okay, so I'm trying to maximize the usage of this spacing. Okay, so again, that's how I would do my UV for the gun, and from this I can export as per normal, right? UV underscore gun or pistol.png. Make sure everything selected and apply, and there you go. Okay,